anytime that we've gone to another level in our business, there was a lot of risk leading up to it. There was a big risk, whether it was us taking money out of our 401ks to produce our second movie. That was a risk, and that was a lot to us at that time, working with 4 kids. Or whether it was us, putting that money on that contract when we first decided that, hey, we wanted to grow our business and grow the mastermind a certain level. And we moved from the outskirts of Atlanta to downtown Buckhead and starting to see those 6-figure or more contracts for events and things. Those are risks, right? And so anytime that we wanted to go to the next level in our business, we took a major risk.
Welcome back to the Traffic Sales and Profit Show. I'm your host, creator and founder of Traffic Sales and Profit, Ronnie Tyler. And today is a great episode because you're going to learn how to launch more, how to launch bigger, how to make twice as much when you actually launch your product or service into the marketplace. And the perfect person to speak about that today is my wife and co-founder, co-owner of Traffic Sales and Profit, Ronnie Tyler. What's up, Ronnie?
Hi, I'm so happy you asked me to be here today.
Right, I've seen you since this morning.
Yes, right.
Glad you joined us. Today we're talking about how people can do bigger launches.
Right.
But before we do, right, if they didn't hear our episode, this is not your first time doing the show, we did a previous episode talking about our journey to working together. So make sure y'all go back and listen to that episode. If you haven't already, we talk about how you can build a multi-million-dollar business with your spouse. But we also talked about your background. But if they didn't hear that, can you just go into your background a little bit about what qualifies you to have this conversation we're having today?
Right. So before I started working for our business, I was a project manager. I worked as a certified project manager for about 17 years. And I worked on large software development projects.
What's large?
Large. Our budgets were over $30 million. And I had teams, more than 30 people on the team, but they were spread out. They were remote teams across the world. So India, Brazil, China, Australia, the UK. I had project team members.
Okay, so if you're watching this, let's qualify what we're talking about. If you're watching this, if the launches that you're currently doing are less than $30 million a year, we got nuggets for you. Now, if you're doing launches over $30 million, not even $30 million a year, $30 million projects.
Yes, for the project.
So if your launch or your project is over $30 million, you may or may not get value from what we're talking about. But if you're under 30 per launch, right, you're in the right place. We may have something for you.
They will get value.
Okay, they might, you know what I'm saying? But people always thinking, is this for me? I've already made it to 7 figures. I have $1 million business. Is this for me? Well, if your launch itself, the specific launch, isn't one with a $30 million budget, they got something to learn.
Yes.
So let's jump into it. One of the things you often talk about is mistakes people make when they launch. Tell me about what are some of the biggest mistakes you see consistently when people launch?
Okay, so some of the biggest mistakes that causes people's launches to actually fail are, the first thing is they just don't plan. They just say they're going to launch, but they actually don't plan it. And so they're like, okay, I'm going to launch this new product. I'm going to do it in March. And then February comes around, maybe 2 weeks before March, and then they start putting some things together and it just flops. It's not like a big launch or something that they put a lot of effort into leading up to it. So the first thing is just failing to plan.
That's good. Mm-hmm. So people failing to plan, I think I see that manifest itself with entrepreneurs a lot of times. Like you said, they just kind of run out and get these ideas. We get ideas a lot of times. So this is the idea, I'm gonna do this. But then the idea switches to something else midway through. Or oftentimes, I think when they have a failure to launch, it's also, and I don't know if it's one of your things or not, so if it is, just stop me. But also, it leads to a failure to follow through.
Right.
Because I'm just kind of going by the seat of my pants. And then if I expected 50 people to buy on day one, but only 20 buy, then I just ready to throw the whole thing away. But I feel like if you have more planned into your launch, then it also helps you with the discipline of actually carrying it through. Would you say that?
Yes. So that's all of the planning. That is a byproduct of not planning, right? Because you're not following through. When you plan and you adequately put measures in place for your marketing, put measures in place for the follow-up, you just do a lot more activity. But once you're in the launch, and you're trying to execute and think of things to do, think of ways to market, you don't do as much. And so you could do 30 to 40% more marketing if you just plan your marketing out ahead of time. If you wrote your emails ahead of time, if you wrote your social media or just thought about the things that you're going to do ahead of time, you would just do a lot more.
Did you like what you just heard? Well, let me tell you about this real quick. We want to expose you to something that's amazing, and that is the TSP Mastermind. If you are a business owner that's trying to reach your next 6, 7, or 8 figures in business, and you're looking for a community of like-minded, purpose-driven, and ethical entrepreneurs, and guess what? You're in the right spot. We have a 12-month program with one-on-one coaching, accountability, trainings, events, and more in order to help you reach the next level in your business. For more information, visit www.trafficsalesandprofit.com. That's good. All right. What's something else people do consistently when they fail to plan and it causes their launches not to do well?
Oh, one of the biggest things is they use the wrong or incorrect launch strategy, right? And that just comes from, number one, just that shiny object syndrome, right? Like, oh my gosh, people are doing this over here and they're doing that over there. But what is right for you, what's right for your business, is very important, right? Do you have a low ticket item? Do you have a high ticket item? Do you have an item that needs a lot of education around it? So maybe you want to have an event or a webinar or a summit versus just a flyer, And so I think failure to select the correct launch strategy is one of the reasons why people's launches fail.
That's good. So if somebody's listening and they're trying to figure out which launch strategy should we use or should they use, like how can they figure that out? Or is that something we talk about later?
Yeah, so there are a variety of different ways that I learned from you. But so if you have a low ticket item, right? If it's something low ticket and they don't need a lot of education, it's more of a purchase that people can just buy right away. Then they can do Facebook ads, they can do flyers, they can do short videos, things like that, and spend their money on the ad budget. But if you have something that needs education, then you may want to think about doing a webinar. You may want to think about doing an online challenge or something like that. If it's something that's high ticket, I definitely recommend that you have a paid launch. So that could be a paid challenge, a paid event, or something like that really qualifies the people that are in your launch.
So when you say pay, you're talking about them paying you to get access to it, not you paying for traffic and stuff like that.
Because it really qualifies the people that say, hey, I am interested, I'm willing to invest in my business, and so I'm going to pay this, however much it is, right? If it's $47 or $17 or,
$4,700.
Yes, or $5.99 for a ticket, that those people are really serious about whatever they're looking for.
Okay, this is good. All right. Anything else that people do when they constantly make mistakes with their launches?
So I said failure to plan. I would say just being scared, just fear.
What do you mean by that?
Because fear will cause you to play small. It will cause you to play small. It will cause you to not plan at all because, after all, if you didn't put that much into it, then you can't say it was a big failure,
Nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose, right? Nothing to lose. And it'll definitely cause you to play small and not put your effort into it so that, you don't feel that hurt, because it hurts, when you don't get the expected results. But so fear, just letting your fear overcome you.
That's interesting because one of the things I've noticed as I kind of always look at our clients in TSP Mastermind, our clients in TSP Collaborative, which is our portion of the mastermind where you have to be doing over $1 million, right? $1 million $1 million in revenue per year in your business and above to even be in the group. And one of the things I always notice about companies that move faster than others, right? I had somebody answer to, well, how come my business isn't moving as fast as some of the others? When I really thought about it and I boiled it down, what it was risk. I felt like the person wasn't taking the same amount of risk that other people took. And even though the risk they took was calculated, it wasn't just like wilding out. I'm just taking all kind of chances. I'm going to lose the whole business, my family and everything if this doesn't go right. They did take risk. And in our business, we take risk. And I think you have to be able to balance out. Okay, having fear is healthy because it stops you from doing some things you shouldn't do. But you have to be able to take risk in business in order to grow and kind of move beyond. Would you agree with that, or what have you seen in our business from your
Yeah,
perspective?
I mean, so anytime that we've made a jump in our business, which I don't know if it was a jump, it wasn't immediate. It was a lot of work to go into it. But anytime that we've gone to another level in our business, there was a lot of risk leading up to it. There was a big risk, whether it was us taking money out of our 401ks to produce our second movie. That was a risk, and that was a lot to us at that time, working with 4 kids. Or whether it was us, putting that money on that contract when we first decided that, hey, we wanted to grow our business and grow the mastermind a certain level. And we moved from the outskirts of Atlanta to downtown Buckhead and starting to see those 6-figure or more contracts for events and things. Those are risks, right? And so anytime that we wanted to go to the next level in our business, we took a major risk. Buying a building, everything is a risk.
That's good.
And hiring employees, yeah.
That's good. So let's switch gears for a second because we talked about mistakes people make so that hopefully if you're watching this, you won't make those same mistakes. Think about what Ronnie broke down. And I want you to say, hey, I'm never doing that again, right?
But I forgot one good one.
Oh, you forgot one good one. All right,
Yeah.
what's one more?
Not building a list.
Okay.
And not thinking about building your list until the actual launch. And so sometimes it takes people like 6 months, a year to get this launch going, right? And in the meantime, they're not even thinking about, well, who am I going to launch to once I'm launching, right? And so that's something that you can be doing the entire time. It doesn't have to be launch specific. You could be building your list and nurturing it so that people are there ready to purchase when you're ready to launch.
That's good. All right. So on the flip side, we talked about all the things that people don't do or shouldn't do. What are things they can do? I've heard you talk about how people can actually double the size of their launches by just being more strategic. Like, what are the things they can do to double the size of their launches?
Right. So there are 3 ways to double your launch profits, right? The first thing is to launch more often, right? I mean, that's simple, right? Just launch more often. Even if you don't have another product, because a lot of people just coming up with all these products and services, but even if you don't have another product this year, if you just launch more often, you'll make more money, right? And so I hear you tell your clients all the time, oh, that webinar worked? Do it 100 times this year, or do it again. Or I hear people say, well, I'm going to launch this product and I'm going to launch it in January. Okay, January comes along because the failure to planning. Oh, you know what? They come back to you next time. Lamar, I'm going to launch it in March. So now your first quarter revenue is gone. First quarter's gone. Your revenue's gone. And then you don't plan that very well. And then that moves to April. So maybe you finally launch in April in second quarter, right? And so a whole quarter's worth of revenue was gone. And then you're tired. And then you pick back up and you say, well, I'm going to launch again, but it may not be until July or whatever. And so you actually have not launched that much this year. And so if you can just get more launches in the year, then you will have a more successful year as far as revenue wise. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So more launches. That means everybody listening, you should just take whatever you're doing now. Like Ronnie said, always tell our clients, if they have a great successful webinar, my first question is how many times, like, can you do that webinar again? Like, when is it the next one? People say, well, I did a challenge. Well, when you come out of the challenge, let's already get your next challenge scheduled. If it wasn't even scheduled before you get back in, because if something's working, let's literally just do more of it to build up capacity to make more money. Right. I like that a lot. All right. What's the second thing? You said you got 3.
More marketing.
More marketing.
Right. So for us, I noticed, and of course you can speak to this because this is your lane in our business, but I noticed that anytime that we are able to market more, then we make more money in that individual launch, right? And so, more marketing. I know with a webinar, we can make 30 to 40% more just on the follow-up if we can send the follow-up emails, right? And so it's just like a lot of people are just exhausted. Oh my gosh, I just did my webinar. I'm so tired. But if your cart is open, and that's the time period where people can actually purchase, if it's open for 4 days or 5 days, then you should be sending like 20 emails or something, right? Like literally, but more follow-up. So if you did more follow-up, if you did more marketing, and even on the front end, if you're promoting this launch for a week or 2, that could be easy 25 to 30 emails, easily. And most people only get 5 or 6 out. Most people only will do like maybe 1 or 2 emails on the follow-up. But you can do all of the things. You can do an email. You can do another webinar in your open cart period. You can do an unboxing. You can do a testimonial. You can do a lot of things to get the sale, right? And so people just are not marketing enough and following up enough.
That's good, because even as you talked about email, so many different contact points. Because I know even when we do things, it may be an email, right, during the challenge. Then we also send out SMS messages. Then we also sending out, Facebook messages. Then we also got somebody like DMing people in the chats, right, trying to make sure they get registered. After they get registered, making sure they get enrolled in all these different pieces. So literally, you need all the touch points.
Right.
Like we had Monray on for a previous episode. She's talking about people who do all the things.
Right.
Like you mentioned, literally, it's like all the things that's required. And me, when people say, well, Lamar, do I have to do X, Y, and Z and, all the different stuff? My answer is only if you want to make money.
Only if you want to make money.
And I've seen there's a direct relation between the amount of activity you put in and the amount of money that you make.
Right. So I just want to be honest with entrepreneurs. I just think they forgot how much time and how much energy it took to make $50,000, $100,000. How about $10,000, right? And so I just feel like, I hear some people say, I had a webinar last night and I only made $15,000, and they're sad about that. But how long did it take them before to make $15,000?
That's good.
And if you're not tired after your launch, then you probably didn't work hard enough. You know what I'm saying? So we're exhausted. We have 7-figure launches and we're exhausted after those launches, and we still do more. We have big conferences, and you'll come back from the conferences and you will still do a webinar just to catch all the people that may be on the fence. And so that's the type of dedication that it takes in order to have 7-figure launches, really.
That's good. All right, so we got 2 things. What is the third and final thing they should be doing to double the size of their launches?
Just more planning. More planning overall in your business, right? Because if you plan more, you're going to be able to have more launches. So that's more revenue. But then also in each individual launch, they're going to be more profitable, because you're planning and you're setting that time aside. So you're going to do more marketing. And so each individual launch is going to be more profitable, but just overall, you're going to be able to increase your revenue year over year.
So let's talk about, for the people watching or listening, right, whether they're on YouTube or Apple Podcasts or Audible or Spotify or all the places that the TSP show is at. For us, what does a planning cycle look like? So let's say we're doing something like an online challenge. Give them like a timeline. Like how far out are we planning that online challenge and then leading up to it, so that because people think, hey, I got something I'm launching next Tuesday, and it's Friday night, so I'm gonna plan. Ronnie told me I'm planning this thing out. But let's talk about what our planning cycle looks like, and then let's also talk about if we need to launch quickly, or somebody else says, hey, that sounds great, I'm gonna do that in the future, but I need to launch fast. What that looks like, and kind of compare the two.
Right. So it just depends on how big the effort is. So something that typically anything that we're doing, like 7-figure type launches, it takes us almost 6 months to plan and execute and build up the buzz. And those are our big events, right?
Something like
so
an
that's
event
6
with our
months.
mastermind launch.
Yes, but that is
out of
something,
a live event or something like that.
But that is something that, again, is, we want thousands of people in the seats. Now, if it's something like an online challenge, or even a webinar that you're doing for the first time, I say give yourself 2 to 3 months, almost 90 days, just to plan it and execute it properly the first time, right? And so that's how long. So you want it to have at least 2 to 3 weeks to just plan it, and to make sure everything is planned, and to reach out to your vendors or to get your team on board. You want to have a month or more, 6 to 8 weeks, to just do your prep, right? And that is building your web pages and writing your copy and shooting your videos and things like that.
Graphics,
graphics, and things like that. And then at least 2 weeks to promote, if it's like a challenge or a webinar, things like that. And then you have your launch week or your launch day, depending on what you're doing. A webinar is a day, or launch week if it's a challenge or something like that. And then your cart is open. So I would say a good 90 days.
Open is.
So your cart is open, that's the day that people are able to purchase on your sales page, right? So that's the day that you say, hey, you can come buy this. So a lot of people say, well, I am a product-based business. So your cart is open on the day that people can purchase, right? And so your promotion may be 2 weeks leading up to it, just getting people excited getting people aware that it's coming, building that buzz until, okay, I open my cart. Right? If you're a product-based business, you can open your cart in different phases. You can get people on an email list and send them out early access. You can send your VIPs early access so that they can get it and unbox and do testimonials and then send everybody else, access to it. So there are different ways to do this, but yeah.
All right. Awesome. All right. And now, like I said, let's talk about the quick launch, because I know some people saying, well, I don't have that amount of time. I need to get something done. I just heard the show. Maybe I just became familiar with it, and I need to get something out into the marketplace. If they don't have that time, what does a quick launch look like? Because sometimes you don't have, so much lead time.
So a quick launch is something that you can kind of get together within a week or two. And just be able to launch. And so the anatomy of a quick launch, that's what you need to know. Like, what are the elements of a quick launch? Because I see people launching all the time. How can you do this? So the first thing is just being organized, right? So if you've launched before, then you can do quick launches, because one of the key elements of a quick launch is reuse. Being able to reuse your items, being able to reuse copy, being able to reuse a sales page, reuse images and things like that. So reuse is one element of a quick launch. Another element of a quick launch is already having a list, right? You're not having to build a list up. You already have an audience that knows, likes, and trusts you, and so you're launching to them quickly. And so that's another element of a quick launch, a really profitable quick launch. And those are the main things, because you shorten a quick launch, you're shortening the prep time. You shorten the planning time. And so you're reusing things that you've already had, you already have your list, and then you're launching really fast. And so you can shorten that window, and you can still promote for 2 weeks and launch the same amount of time, but it's shortening that preparation time period. So yeah, you can do that.
All right, awesome. So there you are, guys. You heard it. What the timeline looks like for like a big launch, right? For something that you want to put all of your efforts into, and you have multiple month lead time, and also what they need to do for that short launch. Now, let's end with this. I know some people are watching and they're saying, this sounds good, but I like freedom, right? And planning feels like it constrains them, or they can't do enough or as much, or it's going to stifle their creativity and all the pieces they have that actually make some money. Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah. But actually, discipline equals freedom. I didn't even create that. I read one of your books one time, and I don't know who said it, but the more discipline you have, the more structured you have, actually the more freedom that you'll have, right? Because if you're able to plan and kind of get your processes in place, then you're able to get people to help you. And I notice 9 times out of 10 with entrepreneurs, the reason why people are doing everything themselves is because they're just not organized in their last minute, and they don't have it together enough to even be able to transfer it over to someone else. And so if you want more freedom, get more discipline in your business, honestly. Planning also allows you to do more things ahead of time. And so your launch can be going and you can still be off on vacation and things like that. But the discipline equals the freedom. It's not the other way around.
So hopefully you guys are getting everything that Ronnie's talking about, and it's all making sense, because we want you to be able to make more money. You can intentionally make more money just by using these practices of not doing the things, when you talked about mistakes that people make, doing the things which you talked about, doubling down, right? And then having the right timeline. You can't say, hey, I want to have this $1 million launch and plan for 2 weeks. But even if you do need to, hey, I need to plan for 2 weeks and get this thing out into the marketplace, which happens, use her framework and methodology. Right. Any last words you want to give them, Ronnie?
No, I just think that if you spend more time planning in your business, you're going to be more efficient, you're going to be happier, and you're going to be more profitable. And so I think just implementing planning strategies is going to be helpful for everybody's business.
Perfect. And to hook all of y'all up, can we hook them up?
Yes.
All right, to hook all of you up, Ronnie is giving you a free paperback copy of her book, The Profitable Launch Blueprint, right? The ultimate step-by-step guide to doubling your profits, written by Ronnie. A free paperback version, free paperback when you go to www.profitablelaunchblueprint.com. Also, we'll have the link down in the show notes. Everybody should get a copy of this, right?
Yes, everyone. Product-based, service-based, brick and mortar. If you are trying to make money in your business, this is going to help you.
All right, so it's going to help you, right? Don't forget, you're going to get a free copy when you go to profitablelaunchblueprint.com, or scroll down in the show notes and click the link. All you have to do is pay for shipping and handling, and we will get a paperback, not an ebook. We real out here in these streets, right? A paperback copy to you so that you can start to have better launches. We want to impact your business, and this is how. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Traffic Sales and Profit Show. Hey, do me a favor. If you enjoyed what you heard today, subscribe and follow us on this platform right now to make sure you do not miss a beat as we drop new episodes and additional content every single week. Also, if you'd like to get access to a free paperback copy of my book, access to the TSP Traffic Sales and Profit free Facebook group, our challenges, resources, our events, and more, make sure you visit us at www.trafficsalesandprofit.com/podcast.